Hello, my name is Ilona, and today it's Monday, June 5th, 2023. And of course, there's so much going on, but I just wanted to talk about a few things that I found interesting. Of course, the family of Mr. B in America, so much going on, so much coming out, corruption, their ties with China, their ties with Ukraine, pictures on Hunter, of course, the laptop from Hunter, the son of Mr. B. I found a website you could see everything. I saw a clip and I shared it on Telegram from the Russian TV that actually was very open, showing pictures with children, and they were tough to watch, but it's necessary that this is coming out. Of course, Mr. B was not very stable again and was hitting the floor as he does quite often recently. I think this is just kind of the end of that era or chapter. I do think the Mr. B and his family will go down, and this is kind of the end of it. And they're showing him as very, not stable at all, and that there is physically something wrong with him. I think they're really trying to aim for that, and he's probably going to leave the scene, so to speak. Well, it's not going to take very long. I think he's on his way out, so to speak. And so that is interesting. Also, what I wanted to talk about is the media. I, of course, did a card reading for the month of June, the energy, and I felt that the media was going to be very important this month. Well, it has already started. So much going on in the media. First of all, Truth Social is now available in Europe. So I actually made an account. Finally, I am on Truth Social. You can find me on warekracht Ilona, and that's the handle I've got. Of course, it means true power. And so, if you want to look me up, I'm on Truth Social now. Another thing in the media, Jack Dorsey is actually endorsing Robert Kennedy Jr., which is very interesting in itself that he's actually doing this. And of course, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is very against the stings. So he's going to get more and more attention now. And things like that can come out. So that's going to be very interesting what's going to happen there. But especially someone like Jack Dorsey, he does have still a lot of influence. So this is going to be very interesting. Another thing is that here I saw an article here in the Dutch media that YouTube is going to leave videos about fraud concerning certain voting in the in the American system in like 2020. They're going to leave it on YouTube. They're not going to take it away anymore or suppress that anymore. So that is very interesting. That's a change in media. And what is also very interesting is that Elon spoke out about two things. At least I found two clips. I shared them on Telegram. First, what was going on in Canada with the truckers, that they would cut the money flow for people that were, of course, protesting peacefully. He also mentioned that, which is good that he emphasized that it was peacefully done, and you shouldn't take away someone's money just because they are politically disagreeing with you. So that's beautiful focus there on that fact. And he was also talking about that everything should be open. Too much information is still being suppressed on all kinds of social media. So he was actually asking for everything like YouTube, Instagram to open up the source and the source codes, and that everything should be open. Another thing that was, of course, interesting on Twitter is the entire everything surrounding What is a Woman. That is a documentary made by Matt Walsh. It's part of the Daily Wire. And they wanted to stream it on Twitter, but Twitter was suppressing everything. And Elon jumped on top of it and actually fired someone. Let's see, that it was a mistake that things were being suppressed. Musk takes swift action. Twitter's VP of Trust and Safety leaves company. Fallout over, of course, what was happening with What is a Woman. And I actually watched the documentary, very interesting documentary. Elon actually made sure that everything was lifted at a certain point at the, I think, when it was put on Twitter finally. You know, first people couldn't see it, they couldn't retweet it. There was a lot of things going on, and at the end, he made sure that people could retweet it and well, people could see it. And he also recommended it to his followers. So a lot of people watched that. Very interesting, just what is a woman. It has to do, of course, with the agenda they're rolling out to confuse the youth and the people with genders. And ultimately, it's part of the dark agenda. I'm sure there is a small group that really has it feels like they are in the wrong body and they should be helped and they should be supported in that way. But now they are trying to, program the entire youth with this. So they're trying to manipulate, create chaos, create confusion, like what is a woman, what is a man. It's pretty basic, actually. It's really a question that shouldn't even be a question. And I have to say, everyone is free to live their lives how they want to live, but don't force something onto someone else, and don't force things like that, to change things that are so essential to life itself. So I think it's a very important documentary, and I do recommend if you can still watch it. I'm not sure about that, but it's really something people should see, and just questions people should ask, because this is part of the dark energy, to confuse, to manipulate, to change things. Children go through all kinds of operations and all kinds of medicine they need to use that really changes everything about them. And it's really sad that later on a lot of how do you say, the people that went through this actually want to detransition. They actually want to change it back, and then of course there's going to be a lot of troubles because all kinds of things have happened to their bodies. So it's something people should watch. So this is really the media. I can already see things are already changing in the media. It really opens things up. What Elon is doing, I understand a lot of people are still a little bit ambivalent. What is Elon really about? I see him as from the dark energies, but he's now working with the white hats. Of course, everyone should feel what resonates with them. I don't see him as like suddenly this good guy, and I'm always keeping my eye, what he does, what he's saying here is important so people can hear it. People can think about, Canada, what happened to the truckers, and think about, opening everything up, and that everything is still being suppressed. A lot of people don't even realize that is happening on YouTube or other social media. So he's really shining a light on those things. So I think that's very important. And of course, endorsing a documentary like What is a Woman is of course talking and talking about something that is very important, and it gets people talking. So the other thing I just wanted to look at in this video is the coming week, the energy of coming week. And the first card I've got were the Three of Swords, the Tower, and the Three of Pentacles. To me, this feels like a very hectic week. We have been in the Tower, energy for quite some time now. Things are falling apart, narratives are falling apart, and it of course brings up a lot of old pain. But I think this week is going to be quite a week. And of course we're in full moon, and I'm just feeling that the energy is really going to, things happening that can be very sudden, very shocking in a way. And they're really behind the scenes working hard to create things, to show people, because that's the best thing, so people can experience this, so people can see and hear about things. It's very important that people experience it, because then they know. Like I've mentioned so many times before, you tell someone something, they won't believe it, or if they haven't experienced it, they'll be like, yeah, sure. But when they experience things like that, they will realize, yeah, this, we need to do something with this. And of course, it's always up to someone what they're going to do with it or not. And you're always going to have people that are not going to respond to it and just live their life and go back to their bubble after everything that's been done. And that is what it is. But I think this week is going to be quite hectic. Things suddenly popping up. Of course, we still have everything going on with this Third World War. They're still working towards, with the weapons, of course, with Russia, what's going on there. It's always in the background. And of course, Sweden now joining NATO, or yes, NATO, if I'm not mistaken. There was, Turkey was against that, but apparently now they've worked things out. But it's really working towards that. And I think that it is part of the scare event. Of course, we just don't know what's going to happen. But that's still going on in the background. And I have a feeling it will come up. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but we know that they're working towards this. The Dark Energies want a Third World War. And of course, the Whiteheads, as I see it, will use that for something else. But we are, you can feel the energy is working towards that. And like I've mentioned before, I have a feeling that a lot of things that we see have already happened. It's of course very difficult to tell what is true, what it isn't true anymore, but they're showing it now to the bigger public that is not aware of this. Of course, what's happening in the Ukraine. Things are not coming out that really the Ukraine is losing the war, and it's more and more things like that coming out. And of course with the weapons and Belarus, and there's so much going on there. But I think they're going to, this will continue. And sometimes I will post something on Telegram just to show that this is still, they're still working on this narrative behind the scenes. And obviously it depends on, the Dark Energies want one thing and the Whiteheads will use it for something else. But I do believe it's part of the scare event. So we'll hear more and more about that. This is the advice for this week. So that's the Two of Cups. We have the Page of Swords and we have the Five of Swords. I believe a lot of things in ourselves. This is a card about a power imbalance, a dark side of ourselves. Maybe the anger, frustration, fear that could hold us in a certain situation. I think we're going to see more and more happening in our lives. We're really going to see a reflection. So things may go this week like maybe get very hectic or similar energy to this one. Things will come up that can be very painful in ourselves. Of course, we'll see it reflected around ourselves. So if you may be into arguments with people, look deeper what's going on, what is coming up in yourself that you can really start healing. Open yourself up to also this dark part still in yourself. Shine light on it, because then it will dissolve, it will be healed. And this is about healing, especially the darker parts in ourselves. It's not just about cleaning around us this world from these dark energies. It's also about these dark energies obviously in ourselves that we need to face, deal with and heal. Open ourselves to new points of view, new inspiration, new information. A lot of things can come in now this week, but really be patient with yourself, be loving with yourself, mild, and really deal with darker stuff or darker parts in yourself that can come up. And really, open yourself up and heal. That's really what this coming week is all about. Healing and letting ourselves be inspired by new things happening, and also see clearly what is really truly going on inside of ourselves. Because if we, work with that, we will see it in the world outside of ourselves. I'd like to leave that this and hope to see you in another video. Bye.